So, there's something going on right now that hasn't been shared for Genshin yet, but if you've been watching what's happening in Honkai Star Rail version 3.3, you'll see the signs, and honestly, it might end up changing how Gacha works in Genshin too. We're not just talking about character leaks or new banners, this is deeper than that. We're talking about actual changes to how the Gacha system presents pricing. And before you scroll away thinking, that's just UI stuff. No, it's bigger. This might be the first sign of Genshin finally being pushed toward more transparency in how it handles real money purchases. And it all starts with a European report. Save up to 23% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description. In Star Rail's 3.3 beta, something subtle but kind of revolutionary happened. They added detailed cost per pull breakdowns in USD directly into the purchase screen. For each pack of shards, which is basically their version of Genesis crystals, they now show how many pulls you're getting and how much that ends up costing you in dollars. Not just vague math, real numbers. Like if you buy the smallest 60 shard pack, you get 0.3 pulls, which is about $2.64 per pull. But if it's your first time buying and you get the recharge bonus, that jumps to 0.7 pulls or around $1.32 per pull. And at the high end, the 6,480 shard pack gives you 50.5 pulls normally, or 81 pulls with the bonus. That means your cost drops to around $1.98 per pull without the bonus, or just $1.23 per pull with it. Now here's where it gets relevant for Genshin players. Even though this system hasn't been rolled out in our game yet, these changes are very likely not just a Star Rail thing. Why? Because this pricing transparency is directly tied to a new regulatory framework from the European Consumer Protection Cooperation Network. In short, Europe is pushing hard for developers to stop hiding real-world money behind layers of fictional currency, and HoYoverse has to respond to that if they want to keep distributing their games in the region. If they're applying this to Star Rail, you can bet Genshin's next in line. And I tried calculating the same thing using Genesis crystals, and here's how it breaks down. The 300 Genesis crystal pack gives you 2 pulls, which comes out to $2.42 per pull, but if it's your first time recharge, you get 3.7 pulls instead, making it about $1.33 per pull. And the largest pack, 6,480 Genesis crystals, gives you 50.5 pulls normally, which brings the cost down to $1.98 per pull. It's all laid out cleanly now. We can finally see the exact cost of every pull depending on which pack you buy. But let's talk Welkin Moon, or in Star Rail terms, the Express Supply Pass. These are your best deals, hands down. 18.7 pulls for $5. That's just 27 cents per pull, but of course, you get it over 30 days, not all at once. Still, it's basically the only time you're pulling at under $1 per wish. Everything else is more expensive, and now it's finally clear by exactly how much. Now here's why this matters. Before this, figuring out how much a 10 pull actually cost you in real money meant doing mental gymnastics. Genesis crystals to Primo Gems, then tracking how many wishes you got. It was intentionally muddy. But this update cuts through that. For the first time, HoYoverse is actually forced to show us what our money gets us in clear terms. And it's not because they just felt generous. It's likely because of the new European consumer protection pressure. That report, by the way, makes some bold claims. It says in-game currencies are often used to manipulate players, making it harder to realize just how much you're spending. It criticizes systems where you're left with awkward currency leftovers that push you to buy more, just to round things out. Sound familiar? If this pricing transparency update becomes the new standard, we could see a big change in how people approach spending. Suddenly, you'll know whether that special pack is actually a deal or just looks like one, and maybe that means fewer impulse purchases, or at least smarter ones. I'm curious though, what do you think? Would showing the real cost per pull in dollars right on the wish screen actually change your spending habits? Or do you already calculate it in your head anyway? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, even if it feels like a small step, transparency like this gives players more control. And in gacha games, that's a pretty rare thing. Save up to 23% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.